We got to make sure that we are value-based communicators. Selling a premium product, you better know how to sell value. That's more important than it's ever been. Sure, we got to have visions for change and progress, because that's the means and the method by which we're going to go from good to great. If you don't envision it, you'll never make it happen. I look at it like this. Anytime anybody makes a decision, they customarily consider two principal factors: value and price. Now, if somebody sees this much value, their mental image of the value of a product, service, or idea is that size. But their mental image of the price they've got to pay, either in dollars or in terms of effort to be expended, if their mental image of the price is this big, will that typically be a sale or a no sale? Well, we don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that. That's going to be a no sale, isn't it? So what do we do about that? I contend we got to be the value builders. We talk generic benefits. We talk needs-based benefits, which are targeted to the specific needs of that individual. And if we don't know how to build that mental image of value, and I'll switch to red for a good reason, what's the only other way we can ever get the yes? Anybody? I don't blame you. I'd whisper it too. Cut the price, which of course is a less desirable alternative. I say, let's be the value builder. Anybody can give their stuff away. Let's make sure we're the ones who are building the value. We're talking needs-based benefits, making a difference in that respect. Best example I've ever seen of the value-price formula. I had the opportunity a few years ago to address the annual meeting of Jockey International. You know, the underwear people? Don't grin. In a group this size, they are well represented, I'll bet you. How about you, Sal? What are you wearing today? Okay, so anyway, I got Jockey International, 800 people from 10 countries at the O'Hare Marriott, and I'm doing an after-dinner speech. It went terrific, had a great audience, and it was about a month later that I got a phone call. Guy on the other end of the phone said, Don, this is Don Haney calling. He said, I heard you speak the other night at the Jockey meeting. I said, terrific, you must be with Jockey. He said, Don, as a matter of fact, I'm not. He said, I'm the president of a firm that is Jockey's principal supplier. He said, we manufacture most of the goods that go under the Jockey label. He said, and the reason I'm calling is I've done a survey and nobody in our company has heard you speak, Don, but myself and our chairman of the board who was with me at that meeting the other night. He said, I know it's short notice, Don, but if you happen to be available, we want to invite you to come speak at our meeting of all of our people. It's only 3 weeks out. It's Saturday, September 22nd. But if you're available, we'd love to have you. I said, you're gracious to invite me. Let me check my calendar. Now, you got to know, I love to sell dates on a calendar like you love to sell Sherwin-Williams paint, right? I look at my calendar, the date's open. That's the good news. The bad news was that Saturday was preceded by a dynamite week. I'm leaving town the previous Sunday. Got 6 appearances in 6 cities in 5 days. I'm scheduled to get home Friday evening at 11:15, an absolutely grueling week, and he wants Saturday? Wow. With a week like that, my mental image of the value, take a look at the screen, of getting one more speaking fee that week was only this big. This is when my kids are little. I always promised them that if I'm out all week long, I'll be with you kids on the weekends. Price I got to pay to be gone on that Saturday was this big. So what did I say to him? Anybody? I don't see any way I can make it. You're gracious to invite me, but tough week. Don't think I can make it. Let me get you a friend of mine in the business. Book me for next year's meeting. He said, Don, let's don't give up so easily. I said, oh? He said, didn't you say in your talk the other night, Don, that your wife was into horses? I said, man, you got a great memory. Yeah, she's into horses. I used to sometimes use a few lines about that. Used to tell people years ago my wife and my secretary got into the Tennessee walking horse business. Was for me about like supporting a heroin habit. He remembered that line. I said, yeah, she's into horses. He said, Don, would it intrigue you at all to learn that we're going to have our meeting this year at the 5,000-acre horse farm of our chairman of the board? I said, 5,000-acre horse farm? You got to be kidding me. That sounds incredible. He said, my friend, incredible is a perfect choice of words. The place is incredible, and you got to see it to believe it. What is this guy doing to me? This guy's building value, and this guy is good, I'm telling you. But I was persistent. I said, I know it must be a lovely layout, but I'm going to be frank with you. My wife's the one who's into horses. She doesn't normally travel with me, and I'm allergic to horses, which I am, but it didn't slow him down at all. He said, Don, as I understand it, the problem is on Saturday, September 22nd, you have a need to be with your family. Is that the problem? I said, man, you got it. That's the problem. He said, is that the only problem? He's got me now, right? I said, you got it. That's the only problem. He said, well, Don, let me try this one on your for size. Oh, this guy was good. He even remembered I was an aviation nut. He said, Don, how about if on Saturday morning, September 22nd, you and your wife and your kids be at Memphis International Airport at 10 a.m. We'll just send our company Learjet down to pick you up. He said, Don, would you ask your wife something for me? I said, anything. He said, man, I just want you to know before we put all this together, Don, I'm going to have a talk with our helicopter pilot, and I'm going to tell him. I said, wait a minute. You got a helicopter pilot flying a Learjet? He said, no, Don, you got to listen to the rest of the game plan. He said, it's only a 40-minute flight in a Learjet from Memphis to Lexington, Kentucky. He said, in Lexington, we're going to get you and your wife and your kids off the Learjet, Don. We're going to put you on our Jet Ranger helicopter. He said, now here's what I want to ask you. I want you to ask your wife, Don, have you ever experienced a cool, crisp, early autumn Saturday morning in central Kentucky where you get on a Jet Ranger helicopter and you climb out about 200 feet and you see fog and clouds, but you climb on out about 500-600 feet and the fog dissipates and all of a sudden the clouds part and you see blue sky and sunshine above and you look down and that's when you see those rolling bluegrass hills of central Kentucky. He said, you look more closely, Don, you start to see those white partitioning fences and those prancing racehorses in their morning run. He said, Don, have you ever seen that from 500 feet in a Jet Ranger helicopter? I said, not lately, brother, I haven't. He said, it's a sight to behold. He said, it's only a 15-minute helicopter flight to the ranch. We're going to get you off the helicopter over to the meeting site, let you give that speech you gave the other night, stick around for the social hour if you're so inclined, and whenever you're ready, Don, back to the helicopter pad, back on the Jet Ranger, back to the Lexington Airport, back on the Learjet, Don. We're going to have you back in Memphis at 3 o'clock that afternoon. I said, man, let's book the program. Forget the fee. No, Tom, I did not say that. Tom, I didn't say. We got to be the value builders to sell a premium product. We got to sell it with energy. And we got to make a difference like we never have before.